Whales and dolphins, known as cetaceans, comprise a wide variety of socially complex species with learned behaviors passed from one generation to the next, a process we call culture. As threats to these animals increase globally, an innovative strategy to protect them and their habitat is gaining international support. If successful, that strategy would declare them as legal persons, extending to them specific and appropriate rights.
A person is a being, no matter what species, that has a particular set of advanced intellectual and emotional capacities.
We argue that a legal person, such as a dolphin or whale, ought to be able to have a fundamental right to bodily liberty.
The more we know about the whales and dolphins, we realize they share most of the important attributes that we think of as important when we're trying to decide who to give rights to.
Good morning and welcome. I know that you all are aware that we are here for oral argument by the lawyers in this case, and that only they have permission to speak.
I had come out of the Vietnam anti-war movement in the 1960s and 70s, and that's why I became a lawyer. And then 4 years later, about 1980, I read Peter Singer's books, and all of a sudden, for the first time, I realized how we treated non-human animals, and the fact that they were simply seen as things. Justice did not apply to them. We treated them terribly, and there's nothing they could do about it. So I thought, well, if anybody needs a lawyer, they do. A sufficient condition for being a person is that an animal is autonomous and self-determined. And at a trial, we are prepared to argue that the court should accept the idea that indeed self-determination and autonomy is a sufficient condition for legal personhood, and that is how a whale or a dolphin would end up being a legal person.
Does one really have to be human to have rights? What are the key elements a living being needs to have rights?
Hal Whitehead is professor in the Department of Biology at Dalhousie University in Nova Scotia and author of The Cultural Lives of Whales and Dolphins.
And if you look at that, if you look at the reasons why we give children rights, why we give sick people rights, why we give infants rights, then it's very hard to come up with a reason other than they're human, just they're human, for not giving rights to other animals which have the same characteristics. And the more we know about the cetaceans, the whales and dolphins, we realize they share a lot of the attributes, in fact, most of the important attributes that we think of as important when we're trying to decide who to give rights to.
While it may be difficult to recognize these qualities in non-human animals, there are certain situations which strongly suggest this potential. Dr. Skip Stubbs was co-investigator with the late Dr. Dan Salden at the Hawaii Whale Research Foundation.
The primary focus of Dr. Salden's research was to determine whether or not there was any sort of social structure in humpback whales similar to the way there is in dolphins, whether they have any lifetime friendships. And each day we'd go out on the water and spend about 7-8 hours on the water, and we'd be with anywhere from 1 to perhaps maybe on a really fast day, maybe 15 or 20 different individual pods. One day in March, I believe it was, out on the water just doing our research, we were with a group of whales, studying it, trying to photo identify the whales. And we got a call on the radio from one of the whale watching boats that something significant had happened in the Maui Channel. And they weren't sure if it was mating that was going on or what. And they called all the other research boats to see if they could come and take a look and see what was going on.